We might take this cue at the moment then to join our commentary team for the afternoon, just briefly. That's Kerry.
O'Shea in the quarter-finals. He's nominated for left half-back. Well, the backs came in for plenty of adverse criticism after the Roscommon game, so it'll be interesting to see whether Seamus Moynihan and the others actually switch positions in any way to cope with Tyrone's expected game plan. Darragh O'Shea has had an extra 3 weeks, of course, to recover from an ankle injury. Is from Ulster not to win the Sam Maguire Cup, and the man they all want to win it for, of course, their captain, Peter Canavan. And you think in terms of all the groom's duty at centre half-back. In the reshuffle, Kieran Gourley moves to right cornerback, and Dermot Carlin steps down to the bench. Cormac McAnallen continues at fullback, while Kevin Hughes and Sean Kavanagh prolong their partnership in midfield.
I'm going a little bit out the field today to actually play in an area of the field where he's most suited to.
Well, we'll see what records, Martin. It shows Kerry, 32 All-Ireland titles, Tyrone. From Roscommon. A place in the All-Ireland final on the last Sunday in September at stake. Kerry, the Munster champions. Tyrone, champions of Ulster. The first of the Bank of Ireland football semi-finals just seconds away. And straight away picking it up here is the midfielder, Sean Kavanagh. Gonna have fun today with Kavanagh, Cavlin and Canavan, all in the Tyrone colours. Numbers taking Owen Mulligan. Challenge there by Mike McCarthy. Good ball inside. The falling body of Cavlin recovers well. Taking on Fitzmaurice, going for it. Oh, a real hit from Hope on into the centre. And Moynihan is there quickly, wins his duel initially against Peter Canavan and clears. Tomas O'Shea operating at centre half-back. In beyond Darragh O'Kinney, they should favour the back. Coming out for there was Ryan McMenamin. Out towards Philip Jordan. Very classy left half back Jordan. Sean O'Sullivan chasing after him, pushing and fouling him, and that's going to be a free in. And Peter Canavan can come out and kick the first point.
Yes, and what a brisk, pacey start from both sides. And again, just to kind of put viewers into the know about who's marking whom, Tom O'Sullivan is taking up Enda McGinley and Mike McCarthy is taking up Owen Mulligan. And it seems Moynihan and Canavan are one-on-one on each other.
At least at this stage in the game. A goal and 42 points so far in the championship for Peter Canavan. This to be the first point of the day. Hit with accuracy. Tyrone take the lead. So that's a very promising start indeed. But a long, long way to go. This is Cavlin in full flight earlier on here, taking on Eamon Fitzmaurice, who switched across with O'Shea, and the loose ball hanging around there, intended for Canavan, taken up instead by Seamus Moynihan. Declan O'Keefe is the senior man on this Kerry team, age 31. Nicely gathered in again by Jared Cavlin. Fitzmaurice giving him the first couple of balls here. Brian McGuigan inside towards Canavan. Canavan trying to get loose. McGuigan kept motoring. Kerry's defence in disarray, and it's punched over the bar. Good start by Tyrone. The Ulstermen are 2 points and off to a flyer. Brian McGuigan, the scorer there, the outstanding playmaker, showing himself to be an outstanding finisher as well. And that duel there involving Peter Canavan and Seamus Moynihan, won by the number 14. Yes, a very good start.
Yeah, let's applaud the role actually in that time of Jared Cavlin. That's the second time he's beaten Fitzmaurice to the ball down this side of the field.
So a decent start by the men from the Red Hand County. That's Conor Gormley. Here's Brian Dooher, a man who will be flying all over the place. Back into space. This is with Seamus Moynihan. A little unsettled early on. A bit tentative, the Kerry backs. A lot of pressure being exerted in their direction. John Sheehan, foul this time. And there's a Tyrone player down on the ground. The foul was by Enda McGinley, but that's not Enda on the ground, that's Peter Canavan. Referee wants some words in there, and it is Mike McCarthy who's been spoken to. Declan O'Keefe calling on the referee just to talk with the umpires, but it's definitely Mike McCarthy who's got the yellow, and under 4 minutes are gone. Awful start by Kerry, but they've loads of time to recover.
So I didn't see what happened that time. I think Peter Canavan was running out that time, and okay, Mike McCarthy had his hand out. There was nothing intentional in that whatsoever.
Absolutely not. Amazing to see that ended up in a yellow card.
Yes, but to be fair, Peter Canavan did actually take a blow to the face, even though it was completely unintentional, and now requires some attention for the cut.
And there is a blood substitute, and it's Stephen O'Neill who comes in. Very, very good forward, Stephen O'Neill. He scored 6 points this year in the championship, but he's had a very outstanding career at underage level and then into senior with the Ulster champions. Kavanagh beaten this time. Darrow Shea booting it outside. Moynihan trying to check his stride. Anxious to get forward. Leaving gaps at the back now. McGuigan picked it off the ground, and it's going to be a free out for Kerry. Take a little bit of the pressure off the defence. The ball has not really gone beyond the halfway point.
Yes, they're so eager, so ravenous at the moment. They have started very, very well, that's Tyrone.
They've also managed to translate their possession into scores, vital early points. Cormac McAnallen hitting this free way down, gathered in well by Stephen O'Neill. The man who's on just momentarily for Peter Canavan as a blood substitute. Owen Mulligan, ready to take on his man. Very confident player, he's had a very good season. Mulligan going all the way through, laying it off here, and McGinley was coming in, and that has gone over the bar, and it's Enda McGinley. All going Tyrone's way. It's only his 3rd point in this year's championship. This is his very first season, but the spade work was done by Owen Mulligan, tormenting the backline of Kerry, and then there was a man coming up in support, and it was flicked over.
He absolutely skinned McCarthy that time, did Mulligan, but again, great support coming in from McGinley, could easily have gone into the net.
Should have been 3 points. Referee just holding it up. Just wondering whether Peter Canavan is ready to come back just yet into the action. No. O'Keefe, good kick out, huge one. Stopped here by Kevin Hughes. Very forceful midfielder, what a good run this is. Oh, bad pass, it was intended for McGinley. Snapped up instead there by Tom Sullivan. But Kerry with a very uneasy look about the backs. The forwards haven't had a chance so far, haven't had the possession. Now Tomas O'Shea, angling it out here into the corner. Mike Frank, setting sail. Players calling for it, Gooch is one of them. Colm Cooper, still an under-21 player. And the first effort is by John Sheehan, the wing-back, coming way up there, and it's off target. Plays for Lown Rangers, of course, where they've had the Puck Fair recently.
Yeah, that was a wonderful bit of defending that time by both Conor Gormley and Brian Dooher, and putting pressure on Cooper before the ball was eventually put wide.
It's Brian Dooher who's down injured. He was back trying to run with John Sheehan, the man from Killorglin, where, as I mentioned, they had that very successful fair, but they'll be able to celebrate a great deal more if they emerge victorious from this particular tie. It looks like it's going to be a very tight one, and the bandage, Peter Canavan, is ready to come back and join the fray. John Bannon is the linesman on this near side. So the man they call Peter the Great is back in the action, and his substitute, Stephen O'Neill, is withdrawn. Already Paddy O'Shea has a very worried look about him. They had a hefty beating here in the semi-final a couple of years ago, 2 years ago against Meath, and of course lost last year's All-Ireland final. This is their 4th match of the campaign. It's Tyrone's 7th. Chance to get motoring here with Mike Frank Russell, bad ball. swung around that time was Gavin Devlin. Much attention will centre on his performance this afternoon. It's only his second ever match in the championship, one at the very beginning of the campaign, and of course he's had the 3-month suspension ever since. Big gamble to bring him back in. Philip Jordan stumbling, running into difficulty. It's John Sheehan who's back there for Kerry. Now they need the influence of Eamon Fitzmaurice. Nicely across towards Colin Cooper. Quick look up at the post, but he's a long distance out, 65 metres. Liam Hassett. Oh, it's a no ball into space. Picked up there by Cavlin. Third time he's been on the ball. Easy one, however, for Seamus Moynihan. Back there minding the house. But it's almost a one-man defensive action. The others look very unsure of themselves. Bad kick by Dara O'Kinnaid, who popped up at top of the right. That's a couple of wides now by Kerry. They look nervous and very anxious.
Yes, indeed, they're lacking composure, which is very strange for a Kerry team. And fair play to Tyrone, like they're forcing errors from the Kerry players, and that ravenous approach at the moment is really paying dividends.
Mickey Hart, first season in charge, of course. Can he take them to the final? Great catch by Jared Cavlin. He's winning everything there against Fitzmaurice. That little switch isn't working too well. That time, indeed, just to be fair, it was Tom Sullivan who put in the challenge. And Sullivan has been ticked by the referee for committing the foul. Was there a push? There was by Seamus Moynihan and Peter Canavan. Canavan certainly made the most of it anyway. The referee saw it head on, but Moynihan, I think, might have a different point of view if we were to question him afterwards. It means that there's an opportunity for Tyrone to go 4 points in front. Just over 10 minutes gone in this All-Ireland semi-final. 1 point from a free so far for Peter. Doesn't miss too many, but this is one that has gone left, and the breeze, I think, may have been a bit of a factor. It swirled down there and carried it to the left. Well, he's the player who has saved Tyrone so often in the past. You remember in the match against Derry, when there were 4 points down with just about 6 minutes or a little less maybe to go in that, and Tyrone came back and levelled it up and took it to a second game at Casement Park. That's a great catch by Jared Cavlin. He's winning everything. And Kerry are going to switch the direction of their kickouts and take it away from Cavlin, who's playing left half forward. Seamus Moynihan held, and Peter Canavan's down on the ground again. Once more he needs attention. Don't know what happened to him. The doctor, Seamus Cassidy's coming out. Lots of booing. Didn't see what happened.
Didn't think there was anything really untoward happened. There was a good collision between the two of them going for the ball, and Peter went down that time. Again, a 50-50 ball. Okay, Moynihan got out in front. Seemed to have maybe caught Canavan, but again, like before, nothing intentional that I can see.
Well, the gash was from the earlier injury that he sustained, and some Kerry fans here are trying to influence by saying he took a dive. Well, that's not absolutely certain by any manner of means, but it looked a 50-50 collision, and you certainly couldn't find Seamus Moynihan guilty of anything.
Yeah, and what's worrying actually, I think initially they're looking at his ankle rather than the injury to the head, and maybe he went over his ankle badly that time that he went down, Ger.
If that is the case, then this could be a very critical stage in the match. Watch it once again here, and just what, oh yes, you could see there, the minute the contact was made, it was his ankle. Well spotted.
Yes, that's very worrying, because that the pitch is unforgiving. It's very hard underneath. He seems to have sustained quite a belt that time on the ankle. Again, it must be said completely accidental, and I wouldn't be surprised if he'll have to be substituted.
Well, his loss would be immense, unthinkable in many respects. At some stage or other in the future, they're going to have to play without him. He's now 32, be 33 later in the year, and it looks like his day at Croke Park is over.
Yeah, that's a crying shame, actually. You know, a lot of people come to see the matinee idols like the Moynahans and the Canavans, and it's a shame that that Canavan has got to go off, but I don't see him coming back on this time. That looks a pretty serious ankle injury.
They brought out the motorised vehicle to render assistance, but he decided he didn't need it, so the doctor and the team manager helping him off. It's a big, big loss. Fitzmaurice for a Kerry team yet to get going. Ryan McMenamin. They look assured. Kieran Gourley fouled in possession, so it'll be a free for Tyrone, around about 30 metres out from their own end line. No decent ball going in towards Declan O'Sullivan and company so far. Here's Ryan McMenamin, likely to pop up just about anywhere. Cormac McAnallen. Many people wondered whether or not he would be able to make a fist of the full-back position. Wonderful midfielder and a player further out the field. Dewar here will run his heart out. And look at the way Tyrone are just coming together as groups, challenging in packs, working as a unit. Dewar taking the free, are ready to do so.
Yes, indeed, and Kerry are losing their composure at the moment. A number of Kerry players are getting involved off the ball in little one-to-one duels, and that is not good for them.
Stephen O'Neill, by the way, just to confirm, has come on as a replacement now for Peter Canavan. That's a great ball in. Mulligan's there. Declan O'Keefe gets a vital fist to it and knocks it well away out towards Sean O'Sullivan, the wing forward, but way back around right half back at that stage. Darrow Kineda, look at the 4 players from Tyrone surrounding him, inviting him to hold on to it too long, waiting for a referee's whistle, which never came. And he's out over the sideline with the ball, the end sideline here, but the ball wasn't. Good work by John Bannon, the linesman. We've seen too many linesmen put up their flag, but that ball was still in play. That's Owen Brosnan trying to muscle his way through. It's like rugby, they're all over the place, chasing like a pack. Comes back to the free man, Enda McGinley. Darrell Shea trying to bring a bit of order to midfield, but they're just booting it anywhere, and it's Dewar snatches it up. When have you seen anything like this?
Well, it's like a pack of ravenous dogs, the way they're getting around the Kerry players. Fantastic spirit, fantastic enthusiasm from Tyrone, really showing no respect whatsoever. And when have we seen a Kerry team in an Ireland final going 15 minutes without a score?
And there is the ankle injury of Peter Canavan being addressed now, the ankle being... well, there's ice being placed upon it. I'm just checking the yellow card, and it's John Sheehan who's got a yellow card. That's a second yellow card for a Kerry player. Both of them operating on the left-hand side of the back line. Brian Dewar into space. This is Stephen O'Neill. His big day, perhaps. Beautiful ball by McGinley inside here. Cameron is coming onto it. It's gone over. He got a goal against Fermanagh. The man who loves to tear ahead and join the inside forward line, and did so with telling effect there, and he makes it 4 points to no score. That's a goal and 9 points he scored in this year's championship. Young man from Moy.
Yes, again, Colin beforehand talked about his ability to get in and get scores. Ghosts in from nowhere, again a great score. And what's becoming apparent here, this could become Nightmare and Croke part 3 for Kerry if they don't start getting scores fairly quickly.
That was the first score in 10 minutes of this semi-final. What is happening to Kerry? They may yet win this match, but there's an awful long way to go between now and 5 o'clock. But they have a battle on their hands. McGuigan freeing it outside towards Cavallan, having a tremendous contest. And some holding there. This time it's by Seamus Moynihan on the fresh man in, Stephen O'Neill. Seamus Moynihan will have been preparing himself for a battle against Canavan, but he's got a fresh opponent, and a very good one at that.
Yes, indeed. And again, what's worrying is that he is really the person to look to for inspiration, and if he appears to be unsettled, that can have a kind of a ripple effect through the rest of the team.
Owen Mulligan taking over the free-taking duties. Canavan had missed the last one, and Mulligan is bang on cue to point with tremendous accuracy. Every one of the full forward line that started the match has now scored. Canavan and Mulligan getting their points from frees. But in case you've just switched on late here, Peter Canavan is out of the semi-final with an ankle injury, and the latest concern is Brian McGuigan from Ardbow. on the shores of Loch Ness.
Yes, son of Franks, and again, to me, he's been the outstanding player for Tyrone this year. Wonderful prompter altogether. Brings the best out in Mulligan in the inside line. There's a great understanding with him. May not get a lot of scores, Ger, but by God, he can deliver ball and distribute better than anybody.
There is another Frank McGuigan, of course, in the Tyrone panel, and that is number 27 for Mickey Hart. Mickey Hart's son is also a sub. But whenever the name of Frank McGuigan Sr. is mentioned, it's that Ulster final 1984, Tyrone versus Armagh. He kicked 11 points. Well, he didn't, if I'm absolutely accurate. He kicked 5 with the right, 5 with the left. That's 10, and he fisted an 11th.
Yeah, that was an exceptional performance in any era. And again, as you say, every one of them from play.
Declan O'Keefe with this kick. Kerry trying to win some ball. Darragh O'Shea is beaten for it. Fists it down. Missed by his brother Tomas. Taken by Brian McGuigan for a very, very alert-looking Tyrone team. But Stephen O'Neill that time fumbled. Leaves Moynihan with a chance to try and play it to space. Only to a Tyrone forward. And that's Owen Mulligan. Mulligan ready to take on his man, who is Mike McCarthy, the Kerry captain. At this stage, it must seem an awful long way from the All-Ireland final on the 28th of September for Kerry. McGuigan kicking, and he's put it over the bar. His second point. What a season he's having, Brian McGuigan. And the fans are cheering on their team. Yes, and Kerry have no response so far. No,
none indeed. And again, Tomas O'Shea is on him at the moment. Again, a lovely pass from Mulligan out to him. Great body strength to keep O'Shea at bay, and a wonderful score from the right wing.
Kerry have given Tyrone a 6-point lead. 20 minutes into the game, roughly. And this is really putting it up to the Munster champions, the great traditionalists. It's another Tyrone free kick.
Rarely seen a team so enthusiastic and so tough in the way they're applying themselves. It's been fantastic so far for the first 20 minutes, and they're asking an awful lot of questions at Kerry, and so far there's no response. I
think a lot of the Kerry fans who've made the journey, exhorted by Paulie to do so, to come in numbers, and it's a huge journey from the Kingdom, are thinking back to that semi-final against Meath 2 years ago. Owen Mulligan, lovely dummy initially, but a great block down. That's very good work indeed. Expertly done by Mike McCarthy, and McCarthy sticking to the task, the Kilcommon man, hoping that he lifts Sam at the end of the season and be presented with the trophy by another Kilcommon man, the GAA president, Sean Kelly. Has that ever happened before? There's Darragh O'Kinneida, breaking ball. Conor Gormley was stumbling, and it's gone off the Tyrone player, so a bit of a respite for Kerry. Meanwhile, it is Darragh O'Kinneida is down there, and Conor Gormley as well.
Yeah, one of the things actually that surprised me about Kerry so far, their handling is very poor, and their ability to go in and win the breaking ball is second in a big way to what Tyrone are doing. They're so good at driving in and breaking ball at the moment, but the Kerry first touch is surprisingly poor.
They look absolutely shell-shocked. They look dispirited. We wondered all about their defence going into this match, whether it would be able to withstand the decent ball that we expected Tyrone to fire in. There was all the talk about who was going to mark Canavan and Mulligan, and all the arguments and all the column inches. You can throw them into the waste paper bin right now, because the drama is happening down there.
Yeah, and their problem is further out as far as I can see, Ger, is the middle eight aren't working hard enough. They're not working with the same enthusiasm at all as Tyrone.
They come looking again for an opening score, Kerry, but beaten by Ryan McMenamin. Inside towards Kevin Hughes, the midfielder is funneled back. Again, they work as a unit, and it's Cormac McAnallen, former minor and under-21 All-Ireland winning captain. This is out towards Philip Jordan, and that's going to be a free. It's a push, and it is Brian Doer is about to take it. Very quickly delivered in, 2 men inside forward line, and there's a stumble there, and it's eventually Seamus Moynihan who gets the free kick, takes it himself. How they need a couple of scores just to settle them down. Otherwise, we're talking about a mismatch. Liam Hassett, Tyrone with 14 men at the moment, with a player down on the deck injured. Comes out to Cavlin, he misses it. Kevin Hughes, a chance to bend his back, very focused. And here comes Cormac McAnallen, wearing number 3, well away from the fringe of the square. Sean Kavanagh emerging as one of the great stars of the 2003 championship. Inside for O'Neill, ready to take them all on. They're bouncing off him, and he's holding on to possession. Great strength and resilience been demonstrated by players down there. Finally, it's Dewar. Knows a little pushing of his own. Free kick to Kerry. That's John Sheehan there, the left half back. The crowd has gone a bit silent, waiting for a response from Kerry.
I think they're stunned.
Hassett. Dewar with a little steal. Just controlling the pace of the attack now. Inside towards Sean Kavanagh. He's kicked one already. Here's another chance if he can get it on the left boot. He can. A couple of hops there. Might have taken one too many, but it's something that's gone unpenalised. But there is a free kick, but it's to Kerry. Eamon Fitzmaurice going by McGuigan. Fitzmaurice feeding it ahead here. This is a bit more promising. Nicely inside, Tom Sullivan. Nicely out. Gooch, can he finally point for Kerry? He can, but it's taken 24 minutes and 10 seconds. Six points to 1. Kerry will suddenly feel, hang on, we've given them the opening 24 minutes of this match. Now it's our turn to play. Only 5 between them all of a sudden.
Yes, and interestingly enough, that's the first time Kerry have controlled their possession quite well coming forward. A good run and a good, diagonal ball and a good finish from Gooch.
And Kerry have, as we mentioned earlier on, several very useful subs to bring in. As we watch Mike Frank Russell back down towards Dara O'Kinada. Quick look up at the post, partial block on that. Just goes forward. Well collected, nicely taken there. Ryan McMenamin getting it away out towards Enda McGinley. It does a kind of a Tony McEntee of Armagh job by roaming way out the field. And Declan O'Sullivan, the one who commits the foul.
Yes, Declan hasn't got into the game at all yet, and again, there's always a danger with a young lad that the game can pass you by actually at this stage.
Dewar determined that it won't pass him by. Mind you, the pass just about passed Philip Jordan by and caught by Pawdy. Fitzmaurice angling this one into space, a real hit and hope one. Ryan McMenamin mopping it up or attempting to do so, but Gooch is a tough character. Colin Cooper, who's a business studies student at Tralee IT. And you can see the shoulders coming in with determination. And the man nursing the injury right now is Mike Frank Russell. Doesn't look at his very best.
Yeah, the sheer intensity actually of the tackling. Just watch this belt here. Again, a very, very, very tough collision that time. I think it was the right half-back Conor Gormley came in on it. But again, the intensity of the collision there really has put him on his back. Ethan
worried there attending to him. And Pawdy in conclave there with the selectors, I'm sure wondering about possible changes. Free kick been awarded. And if this one can go over, just 4 points between them, which would be nothing whatsoever.
Yes, but again, they have got to up the work rate around the middle 8 of the field. Like, the midfield pairing have been out of it so far. Dara hasn't made any impact in the game. The half-forward line has been repeatedly beaten by the Tyrone half-back line. And again, as a consequence of that, the Kerry half-back line is under all kinds of pressure.
So just as there was a concern earlier on about Peter Canavan, who left the game, there's the challenge by Conor Gormley there on Mike Frank Russell. He's gone down under the weight of that challenge, which was a foul. And equally, Kerry wouldn't want to lose a player of Mike Frank's stature and class. Johnny Crowley would be the obvious one to come in to replace him, but still attending to him. If anything, this little gap in play is going to suit Kerry just to try and compose themselves. Tyrone can take a breather, but they've still only managed to amass a 5-point advantage.
That is true, Ger. If there was ever a thing called a timeout needed in Gaelic football, Kerry needed it, and they have got it, ironically enough, with that injury to Michael Frank, because they should be able to talk to one another, get each other going. And again, Johnny Crowley down on the sideline, I'd imagine will be in fairly soon for one of the inside forwards.
Again, you got to give him the ball. Dara O'Kineda will kick this one. Usually a very, very good free kicker, but that has gone all the way through to young John Devine, the 19-year-old goalkeeper. Out to Sean Canavan. It was badly caught by Dara O'Kineda. And it was Tomas O'Shea who was coming flying in there, and you could see Liam Hassett swinging around an opponent as well. And the referee stepping in fairly quickly, just to make sure that everybody is playing by the rules. The last little throw there was on Conor Gormley. So a chance then for Ryan McMenamin to hit this free kick after Tomas O'Shea, by the way, had a ticking. And that ball is going to be thrown up.
That is correct. He can't take all day to actually take the free kick, and Jerry Kniebe is absolutely right to throw it up.
He's very tight on these situations, free kicks taken from the wrong spot or delayed unnecessarily. Dara O'Shea, that is John Sheehan up there with the attack. O'Shea again, trying to link up with a colleague, and nobody making the easy pass for him with a bit of movement into space. Brian McGuigan, who's got two very, very fine points so far in the match. It's got to be another free kick for Kerry. All of a sudden, the intensity and the tempo of the Tyrone game has dropped. That's not unexpected, of course, but it's given Kerry a chance to get a couple of scores. Dara O'Kineda missed the last one, hit it badly, and he's missed this one as well. Bounces off Ryan McMenamin. Conor Gormley was in there. They attempt to stop it, and it's gone wide, and that becomes a kick out for Tyrone. Things are going nicely for them.
Yes, and Paddy will be disappointed with that. Dara O'Kineda normally is very good from place kicks off the ground, but for whatever reason he's not getting his foot under them, and those two kicks were badly placed.
Now, he's done it before in Croke Park, so we can't necessarily blame the surface, although the grass is quite tight.
Yeah, we were down in it earlier, Ger, and actually it was very tight, but at the same time there's no excuse for missing those two types of frees, and Kerry need them badly at the moment.
John Devine playing in his 8th championship match. Dara O'Shea coming, that's a brilliant catch. Best bit of piece of high fielding in midfield we've seen so far in the game. Useful little spell now with 5 minutes to go to half-time as Dara O'Shea kicks it, and he kicks it hopelessly to the right. Two missed frees by Dara O'Kineda, and the other Dara O'Shea missing there, and that's 4 wide now. But this is O'Shea's catch earlier on. Great skill, but they can't turn the resultant possession into a score.
Yeah, and I'd question Dara at the moment. I just wonder, has that injury that he's had over the last number of weeks blunted his edge somewhat? He's not getting into the game to the same extent as we would have expected.
Kerry have made a switch in their forward line, and the number 14 and 11 have switched positions. So Declan O'Sullivan is now out on the 40 on Gavin Devlin, and Dara O'Kineda has gone into the fringe of the square. Would it make a difference? Doer sending this one dangerously in towards O'Neill. Now McGuigan. And a little push there behind, and you can see that Mike McCarthy is protesting to the referees on a yellow card. Mike McCarthy along with John Sheehan, and Mulligan has done his little bit of work, and it results in a free in and a chance of another Tyrone score. There it is, the hand was into the back, and the little push, and Mulligan made sure that the referee saw him go down. And coming in is Mark O'Shea, a back, of course, replaced in the first half of the Roscommon game. Stephen O'Neill has hit the free, and he's put it over the bar, and so he extends Tyrone's lead. And as you were a little while back, there are 6 between them.
Yes, and credit Tyrone, they've actually kind of negatived the strong points in the Kerry team. They have actually put a lot of pressure on Seamus Moynihan at full-back, as well as that Dara O'Shea is struggling because of the constant pressure that's been put on him. And again, a lot of the quality is coming from that.
That was Tyrone's first score there in 14 minutes as John Sheehan comes off, Mark O'Shea comes on. It's a reverse of the switch that was made against Roscommon 3 weeks ago. Well, will that plug gaps? Cavanagh chasing after this one like a JCB. Tomas O'Shea up towards Declan O'Sullivan. The man who's challenging for possession there is Gavin Devlin. Comes back here towards Liam Hassett. Little block on it again. Tyrone's work rate is immense. Jared Cablin into space, a stumble by Mulligan. Easily taken in, however, by Mike McCarthy. Eamon Fitzmaurice continuing to operate at right half-back. And Gooch just loses out as Tyrone come forward once again with Enda McGinley. Between goalkeeper and incoming forward, and the cornerback and captain Mike McCarthy did well to restrain Owen Mulligan fairly that time. Back out towards Tom Sullivan. Thomas Sochet. Well, Kerry just playing it around at the back there, holding possession, but really going nowhere. And you wonder about their game plan. Well, it was to result in a broken ball like that from Philip Jordan to set something up. A mistake by Tyrone gives Kerry an opportunity to come in for a score, but it's very much to the right, and it's gone wide. It was Cooper who hit it, and it was Mike Frank Russell who was endeavouring to keep it in play.
Yes, and just going back to your game plan, actually, Jared, both Darren O'Shea and Owen Brosnan are playing very, very far back into their half-back line at the moment. And again, the movement in the forward line isn't what we expect of Kerry. They're not simply making enough runs, and Tyrone are managing to get bodies back there to prevent any quality being given through to them.
Well, there's going to be 8 minutes of added time to be played at the end of the first 35 minutes. So we got about another 9 minutes of action because of those hold-ups, in particular to Peter Canavan, who was down twice, you may remember. And there was another injury as well to Mike Frank Russell. So a chance for Kerry to tag on a couple of scores. 1 point, a miserable return. A horrible performance by the Munster champions, being well and truly beaten. But they've still got lots of time as Hassett takes it forward. Released inside towards Mike Frank, into the corner to Gooch. Where will he turn it to? Right back onto the 45-metre line. Again, they emerge with possession and look for something here. A little block once again. Great Tyrone work. Everybody funneling back, never giving up the ghost. And even there, when we saw that final shot on the target by the number 2, Tom O'Sullivan, that little vital block was so essential to take the steam out of it. Yes, it never caused much of a threat.
Yeah, and the blanket defence is suffocating everything that Kerry are throwing at them. And Kerry, to be fair, are going laterally too much. There's not enough quick ball coming in directly. They're tending to go across field.
One back here again by Tom O'Sullivan. And that is another awful kick. Owen Brosnan this time from the middle of the field. Nothing is going right for Kerry.
They're so disjointed, Jerry. It's unbelievable. It's one thing we didn't expect from a Kerry team coming up here today, that they would go through 36 minutes of football scoring 1 point and appear so disjointed in their attacking.
Well, we've seen them in the last couple of seasons promise and threaten an awful lot, and without delivering necessarily. So it shouldn't come as a complete and total shock. It's a Kerry free kick. And this time it's Mike Frank Russell who comes out to take it.
Yes, this year was to be atonement year, you know, 2003 and all that, the centenary of the first All-Ireland. But they're all over the place.
Well, there's not a great deal of atoning done right now, but Declan O'Sullivan is a young player with a very bright future, but right now part of a team struggling big time. This time the ball had gone out over the sideline. It's part of the best efforts of Sean O'Sullivan. Line ball to Tyrone. We've seen the two sides of Tyrone in a way also, I think. When they're attacking, they attack in waves, and they really make it impossibly difficult for the backs to concentrate. There are just so many bodies going forward, and then, as you say, their ability to swarm backwards and just perform as a unit and just close up everything the opposition can throw at them.
Yes, that's true, but look at the handling there again. Look at the crispness of the Tyrone tackling.
And this will be a point, surely. It's McGuigan going through, might even go in for a goal. He's got himself a free kick. It will be a point, but it came from sloppy handling. And we're now 2.5 minutes of the 8 into injury time or stoppage time. And Sean O'Sullivan is leaving the Kerry team, and it's going to be a yellow card first of all for Eamon Fitzmaurice. That's 3 of the backs now have had yellow cards, and the other 3, their names have been taken by the referee or numbers, so they're on ticks. Horrible day for Kerry overall as Mulligan kicks and points. Second pointed free for Owen Mulligan. They have half the job done. They must be aware of that now. Did they believe they'd be in this situation approaching half-time, leading by 8 points to 1? Have they got the resolve now to stay on there? We're reminded, of course, about 1986. And those of us who were here that day remember how into the second half they had a very handsome lead against Kerry, and they ended up, I think, losing by 7 or 8. It was a turnaround of 15 points. Anything can happen, but it's happening right now for Jared Cavlin and his team. Nice ball down. Who's marking McGuigan? Nothing really happening. Once again, it is Stephen O'Neill. Good ball in. Decent possession for McGinley. Back in towards O'Neill, and he's hauled down, and it's going to be another free kick. Tomas O'Shea and his colleagues in bits. Tomas O'Shea is one of those to have his number noted earlier on, so it has to be another card here, and that's confirmation of the last change.
Yes, for those of us who grew up admiring Kerry, this is quite unbelievable to see them playing with so little composure, so little confidence and so little ability at this stage of an All-Ireland series.
Pressure is now on the management. Owen Mulligan with a 3rd point from a free, and he's got 3 frees, 3 points, and he makes it 9 points to 1. At this stage, I don't think the bookies would even entertain a bet against Tyrone to reach this year's All-Ireland final. 35 minutes of action still to go in the second half, and about another 4 minutes of additional time here. An amazing first half. Declan O'Sullivan picking it up. How a goal for Kerry might change things around. O'Sullivan again, trying to engineer something. That's a very bad pass. Hits straight at Ryan McMenamin. Tyrone have players covering space. They almost appear to have 17 on the field. Kerry disjointed, not functioning proper as a unit. The heads have dropped a long time ago as McGuigan belts it in here towards Mulligan, taking on everybody and anybody and kicking to the left. Well, it was a lovely move, but a horrible finish.
Yeah, wonderful passing from McGuigan. He makes himself available all the time, taking up the spaces where the ball is about to be delivered. But then the quality of the diagonal ball is just a joy to behold.
It's only Tyrone's 2nd wide in the half, a half which is now 40 minutes old. And that just about tells it all, doesn't it? Sheer frustration, having made the long journey, and the team isn't just underperforming, it's not performing.
I think a sheer disbelief, actually, by a lot of the Kerry followers.
I think it's that question I asked you before the ball was thrown in. How relevant is tradition? In the great game nowadays, it doesn't matter of wit. If you're well prepared, and if you're going to go in there with good quality players, you've got a real chance. And that's what Tyrone are showing us. Decent looking attack by Kerry. Can it produce a 2nd point? The umpires had a little thought about it. They put it over, and it is Mark O'Shea who's got it, having come on as a substitute just about 10 minutes ago, and it's 9 points to 2, only 7 between them. It's to Kerry's credit that they are just 7 points behind.
That's a great strike from Mark O'Shea. Again, something that they need badly coming into half-time. And talking at half-time, it'll be very interesting to be in there listening to Paddy, trying to get his troops going.
No, this is family entertainment. We don't want to even put a microphone next to near that door. Tyrone scoring chances from the first half, 41 minutes, 42 minutes of the half so far. 14 scoring chances against 9 for Kerry. 9 scores to 2. Johnny Crowley reaching up for this one. Can he make a difference inside to Gooch? And he normally kicks with such style and accuracy, but the cheers you're hearing are from the Ulster supporters of Tyrone.
And when you think about it, Jared, they've missed 3 frees, they've missed 1 or 2 opportunities like that. Could have them right back in the game had they taken it, even though they have been completely outclassed in the first half.
Paddy will not give up, the selectors will not give up, but they've got to get the message through now to the 15 players and the couple of subs they plan to bring on yet. And it's a Tyrone team, remember, without Peter Canavan. And it's been Tyrone's first half. They were magnificent. They performed. They came with a good reputation as an attacking squad, but every one of them grouped together and just threw Kerry out of kilter. And Kerry have been anything but the great power we know they can be. But there's a second half to come here, and the big question, can Kerry come back? Will Tyrone maintain their lead? It's 7 points at this stage at half-time in the Bank of Ireland All-Ireland football semi-final. At Croke Park, it's Tyrone 9 points, Kerry 2. And I'm sure Tyrone...
OK, gentlemen, apparently Mike Frank Russell has gone off the Kerry team. Seamus Scanlon has come on. I gather there he is indeed. That's our cue to go back again to Martin Carney and Ger Canny.
Thank you, Michael. We're just trying to see how they are going to reshape for the second half. And Seamus Moynihan and Eamon Fitzmaurice have switched positions. So Moynihan is now out at centre-half back on... who's on? Yeah, he's on Brian McGuigan. And as you say, Seamus Scanlon is in for Mike Frank Russell, which means that Kerry have now used up 3 of their 5 possible switches or changes. So it's come down to this. 35 minutes to reach the All-Ireland final. Straight away, Johnny Crowley using a bit of muscle there up against Kieran Gourley, trying to worm his way through, showing he's not going to be knocked around the place easily. And it's a free kick on the 20-metre line, and a chance now to put 6 between them.
That's a very encouraging start from Crowley, even though he's getting involved in a little bit of afters, but he certainly put down a marker to Gourley that time that he's not going to be pushed around in this half.
Johnny Crowley, who is a Garda Síochána in Mayfield in Cork, and Kieran Gourley, for his troubles there, got a ticking from the referee. Any more of that, and he gets a card, and it's kicked over the bar there by Dara O'Kineda, and it's his first point of the match, coming from a free in the first minute of the second half. Owen Brosnan has switched into centre-half forward on Gavin Devlin in the rearranged formation for Kerry. Seamus Scanlon, Dara O'Shea in midfield, and all of a sudden Kerry taking, as we expect, something of a grip in the early stages of the half, trying to put down some markers, get some possession and get some scores. But they battle away at the back there. Tyrone and Cormac McAnallen trying to bend his back to gain possession. It's going to be a throw ball by the referee, Jerry Knievy from County Roscommon.
Already there's a harder edge to Kerry, a little bit more steel than we saw in the first half, on the evidence of the first couple of incidents.
Paddy O'Shea, I'm sure, had an awful lot to say to his charges at half-time. Strong words, I'm certain, were spoken. Liam Hassett picking himself up here. And the throw in there will involve Owen Brosnan and also Cormac McAnallen. Dara O'Shea is the one who in fact gets possession, and an opportunity all of a sudden here. Brosnan's shot blocked down well by Kieran Gourley. Gourley is injured doing that. Out as far as Brian Doer for Tyrone. The Ulster champions leading by 9 points to 3, early stages of the second half. After, from a competitive point of view, a pretty forgettable first half of the match. As Tyrone, as you know, in that opening 30, whatever it was, number of minutes, overwhelmed the kingdom. And all of that without the injured Peter Canavan. And it's going to be a throw ball, 45 metres out from the Kerry goal. Then Dara O'Shea trying to claim it. He was fouled, however, and it's going to be a free, which is quickly taken, but only as far as Kevin Hughes of Tyrone, up towards Owen Mulligan. Mulligan has it, holds on well, tries to make an angle. Now it's the turn of Kerry to funnel men back, but they get it into the free man. McGuigan inside once again towards Hughes. Back again towards McGuigan, coming through with some power. McGinley, oh, what a shot by McGinley. And he screws it off the right boot. It was a glorious chance. There was the prospect of a goal just a moment to go here. Credit Kerry for getting the men back. Moynihan missed the clearance there, the tackle rather, on Kevin Hughes, but when it fell to Enda McGinley, it was an awful, horrible finish.
Yeah, and a lovely involvement twice that time by McGuigan. Very, very quick hands to set up the move. It should have been finished.
McGuigan is a really, really good link man. Has shown himself time and again in this championship. Stephen O'Neill, and there we saw the substitute Mark O'Shea and Brian Doer. And the referee doing a little bit of note-taking. I think numbers have been recorded once again. So it all ends up with a kick out. Eventually, the referee is still doing his note-taking, still recording the involvement of certain players in the last piece of play. Up there we've got Tom Sullivan from Rathmore, same club as Declan O'Keefe. And there as well, the man you're watching is Stephen O'Neill. And that's a yellow card per player, I think, which means that Tom O'Sullivan now becomes the 5th member of the back line that started for Kerry to have a yellow card. The only player not to have a yellow card among the outfield players, Seamus Moynihan, footballer of the year back in 2000. There was a push by Kevin Hughes, free kick to Kerry from the middle of the field. Protest by Hughes, so it's brought forward, not quite 13 metres, but enough for Kerry to take it. Dara O'Shea inside there, missed by Dara O'Kineda. It's Cormac McAnallen instead. Outside here towards Kieran Gourley, goes to ground there under the weight of the challenge from Dara O'Kineda.
Yes, that time McAnallen was very assured under the high ball.
And Tyrone now just wanting to weather the storm and go maybe 10 minutes, maintain their lead against Kerry and come with a finish of their own. Brian McGuigan, huge one in. Stephen O'Neill drops it down, and that's enough for Mike McCarthy to get on to. Scanlon, first involvement since coming in as a half-time substitute. Eamon Fitzmaurice wanted to take the free kick. The man from Finoog up there in North Kerry. Declan O'Sullivan now, very, very deep. Started at full forward. Seamus Moynihan out around the half-back line at this stage. By comparison with the way the team was originally selected and the changes they've had to make, Kerry have been forced into very, very fundamental alterations. And again, the referee is going to award against Seamus Moynihan here and throw the ball up. The free kick not taken quickly enough. Seamus was moving a yard or two forward, not very much, it has to be said. And it was frustration from Moynihan because the other Kerry players simply weren't moving into space.
That's exactly it. And again, with Jerry Knievy this year, that's one of his trademark calls that he makes, is if a player oversteps the mark from where the free will be taken, he will call for a throw-up between the two teams.
One back here by Sean Kavanagh. Still holding on for dear life underneath all that. And the referee in the end says you held on far too long. Not sure what he could have done with it there. It was Enda McGinley last man up. Johnny Crowley lets it bounce. Takes it well. Looks for support. Dara O'Shea is available. Ready to take on Kevin Hughes. Beats him with ease. Striking it to the left, and the keeper, John Devine, decides to restart. He could have left this one go out. Didn't do so, and now could experience some difficulty as Hassett fires it back in to Gooch. Comes back into the middle, inside towards Brosnan. But once again, the great resolution and determination of Tyrone is evident, and Jared Cavallan back there fouled. From the very beginning, they've had a winning look about them, but they have an awful lot of work to do. Only 6 points in it.
And once again, that 6-man blanket is around the player with the ball. Great bit of defending by Cavallan in particular.
Free kick will have to be retaken because the referee decides to stop the match, and there's concern about the, well, I thought it was concern about the ankle rather than the boot laces of Dara O'Shea.
He seemed to go over actually on the ankle in the last occasion that he was in possession of the ball, but maybe it's just that the boot came off, but he looked to me to be hobbling after the his last involvement.
They need a big performance from him. Cormac McAnallen then linking up with goalkeeper John Devine. Hit in towards McGinley. Seamus Scanlon finding Johnny Crowley, the one man who can take on this Tyrone defence. It's close, but not quite close enough, and he was well aware of it from the time it left his boot. Well, there's always a man who can come in and get a score or two for the county when they're in most need. This was Seamus Scanlon feeding it across towards the man from Glenflesk, which is a few miles outside Killarney. And that wasn't quite a few miles away, but a couple of inches. There is Owen Brosnan. Broken down by Dara O'Kineda. Hasn't really been in the match. But it's been difficult against the tenacity of Brian Doer and company.
The game is perfectly set up for Tyrone at the moment. They have this 6-point lead. They're well capable of actually using that cushion and play very, very defensively and hold on to that.
Another delay. You'll remember that at the end of the first half, the referee signalled there would be an additional 8 minutes. Living on their nerves.
There's very much a stop-start kind of trend to the second half so far. It's punctuated by too many frees and an awful lot of overcrowding and an awful lot of maybe, you know, heavy hitting, but very little open football.
As a contest, it's been poor, very poor.
Well, at the same time, Gerard has been riveting stuff in many respects. There's been a huge intensity to it, but the fact that it's so one-sided on the scoreline has probably taken from it somewhat.
What can the managers do at this stage? We're 10 minutes into the second half. Tyrone yet to score in the half. Kerry have tagged on 1 point. Here's Kevin Hughes, very deep. Cormac McAnallen, a very athletic figure coming from the rear. Ahead by Conor Gormley. Into space, and it's Ryan McMenamin. A real terrier. Gooch is after him. He's his man. McMenamin coming up from cornerback to kick with accuracy and put it over. He's providing the leadership, the little number 4. Playing in his 17th championship match, a very fast and effective player. And that is just his 2nd point in this year's championship. He scored against Down earlier on in one of the Ulster final matches. Another free kick.
Must be said too, Gerard, the Tyrone are working so hard by comparison with Kerry. In terms of the tackling, there's a greater intensity to it. When they get possession, there's much more support for the guy with the ball. And again, they're getting players forward much more than Kerry. Kerry, there's so many players static today.
O'Kenneda's kick towards Johnny Crowley. Again, he takes up a good position, but quite unable to link up with Colm Cooper. And Enda McGinley, the free man from the full forward line. A couple of teams now at this level of the game, employing just 2 men in the inside line and leaving another guy free. It's not a new tactic, but the way in which they're employing it is certainly fascinating. Cavlin seized on well there by Eamon Fitzmaurice. Seamus Moynihan, lovely style, but needs to get his team going. Tomas O'Shea coming into the action. O'Shea chased by Sean Kavanagh. Getting support there. Gooch had started the run back. Firing it in, and he's fired it wide. No joy for Colm Cooper. 1 point. That the very first of the match for Kerry, and that came after 24 minutes.
It's certainly that bit of play had a bit of conviction about it, but again, the end result was very disappointing.
He's had 4 kicks for goal this afternoon, Colm Cooper. Made just 1. Hughes against Scanlon. All the breaking ball being won by Tyrone. They're so good at scrapping. Kerry like to play it elegantly, but for the rest of this match, they need to roll the sleeves up insofar as they can and muck in if they're to have any chance at all of rescuing this. Cavlin nicely ahead for Philip Jordan, one of the outstanding left half backs in the game this year, and he is knocked over, and it's Declan O'Sullivan who tracked back after him. So the foul recorded, and he gets his number noted in the book. And
yeah, again, I think Declan O'Sullivan trips them up. But it must be said, Tyrone are very comfortable with the style of play that they're actually imposing in Kerry at the moment, whereas Kerry are having to think a new plan B, and they're not able to find it, actually. Their normal kind of poetic style isn't there today.
Not the greatest of frees by Owen Mulligan. And back there is Dara O'Shea. Chance to restart, going by Mulligan. Doer's in there to tackle as well. Kerry just about holding possession. Tomas O'Shea way back there, up towards Colm Cooper against Ryan McMenamin. Cormac McAnallen, the man about whom they wondered whether he could make a really good job of the full-back position. He's certainly been answering so far in the affirmative as Fitzmaurice starts again. Darragh O'Shea, usually a very good passer of the ball, outside to Moynihan. Seamus Scanlon coming into the equation, down towards Johnny Crowley. Again, given a little bit of latitude by Kieran Gourlier. I think he's a little bit tentative in his approach where Crowley's concerned. Colin Cooper, 2 men on him. Gavin Devlin is one of them. Here's Seamus Moynihan way up there. Kerry needs scores. Here's a chance of a goal as O'Sullivan's on, and he's cracked it over the bar. Should have gone for a goal, they needed it. It's his first point.
Oh yes, and Dara Major was hovering with intent to the left of them that time. Should have been given the ball.
10-4. The Kerry fans finding their voice now, and a chance to cheer, a chance to encourage the build-up here involving Hassett. The pass laid across to Declan O'Sullivan, taking on the man there, but he put it over when he needed to put it under.
And this is significant in a way, Gerard, at that time Seamus Moynihan was up on the attack to actually initiate that, that particular move.
As we've said before, they need a big showing now from Moynihan, from Darragh O'Shea, to give the leadership. Tyrone very confidently hanging on to their 6-point lead, their full value for it. McGinley drops it. Now have they the self-reliance and the confidence in their own ability as a team to stay the course? McMenamin out towards Gavin Devlin. Here's Philip Jordan. Again, just elegantly playing it around, looking for the correct pass, going long. And then chasing after it was Stephen O'Neill. Breaks for Brian McGuigan. McGuigan taking on Liam Hassett. Run back by Seamus Moynihan. Back to Hassett it comes. 16 minutes into the second half. Another quarter of the game remaining. Referee having the words there with Stephen O'Neill. Well, if he was, that's interesting because he's already given him a yellow card. Now, did the referee intend to book him? That would have been a red. Maybe he just decided it didn't merit a sending off. Away come Kerry once again. Fed inside here. Kerry looking determined at this stage, suddenly finding a bit of form and confidence. Colin Cooper finding a gap, finding support. O'Sullivan letting it run ahead. Fumbled there by Mark O'Shea, but regained and kicked in the end by Colin Cooper. He's claiming he should be getting a 45 for that. The umpire has waved it wide. The referee is checking with the Kerry player.
Yes, I think what that's about actually, when the ball was down in the other half of the field, Dara, I think, ran into Enda McGinley, and I think it's Darragh O'Shea got the yellow card.
It is indeed. Darragh O'Kinnaid has been taken off the Kerry team, replaced by Declan Quill. Darragh O'Shea's yellow card means that a total of 5 of them are now on yellows. In fact, just take another little check, it is 6 yellow cards. It's a huge tally. 4 subs have now been used by Kerry. They've yet to bring in Eildon McGarrett. Seamus Scanlon wrestled to the ground. Kerry want to take the free kick quickly. Liam Hassett. 4 points in this match for Kerry. A miserable return in an All-Ireland semi-final, but it's happened before to them. 2 years ago against Meath. Runs on for Cormac McAnallen. He's got support outside, and that's going to be a free kick. Philip Jordan, the man who was up in support of the player in possession. And that is the 50th free awarded by referee Jerry Kenevi in the match. A massive tally, tells its own story, and it underlines the indiscipline that has been running through the contest. 6 between them still. Another yellow card. And this one, I think, is to Enda McGinley. It is, and that is the second yellow card for a Tyrone player. The other one was Stephen O'Neill. Cavlin hitting it into space. Bad ball. Always going to favour the midfield player, Seamus Scanlon. Could have given it to another sub, Mark O'Shea. To Moynihan instead. Still about 17 minutes of the match remaining, plus stoppage time. Kerry with it all to do. Beyond Quill this time, he stumbles. McAnallen, good ball forward. Nice play there by Tyrone towards Mulligan. Ready to challenge, ready to torment the Kerry captain, Mike McCarthy. Holding it up, bringing another player into it. Then a wayward kick, and it's picked up there by Liam Hassett, who's fouled. Free kick to Kerry. Darragh O'Shea wants to take it quickly. Kerry now needing a goal, you feel, at this stage of the match, just to try and bridge the gap. And he has got a frontal charge there. The referee decides on Stephen O'Neill. He'll dispute that one, I think, and it's going to be a free kick to Tyrone.
Yeah, Shamey's problem that time going forward with the ball is that nobody is up in front of him. All the Kerry players have sucked back into their own half of the field, and there's nobody to give an outlet to.
This is it again here.
Yes, he charges into him. McGuigan held his ground, and definitely the referee gave the right call.
At this stage of the match, Martin, Tyrone have the resolve. Mickey's team have the resolve. They've got the determination. Have Kerry got the belief that they can still snatch it?
Well, I think Kerry can still snatch it, but they're going to need a goal, and that goal has to come very quickly. But they haven't been able to really disrupt the control that Tyrone have exercised in the game throughout.
That's a bad free kick by Mulligan, but by Stephen O'Neill, but it might come good just yet. Kept alive inside towards Dewar, and he's dispossessed well on the 20-metre line. Seamus Scanlon getting it away to Seamus Moynihan. Back out here towards Liam Hassett. Tyrone with only 1 point, remember, in the second half so far. 20.5 minutes gone. All the good work has been done in the opening 35 minutes from their point of view. Brian McGuigan hitting it into space. Kerry just almost freezing, but the attack continues into McGinley in on the end line. Taking them all on, McGinley into space, and it's stopped on the line. Taken off the line brilliantly after Owen Mulligan went in to reach for that. And we'll just have to do a double check to make sure we've got the right player in the right position there. I think it could have been Declan O'Sullivan. Way back. Whoever it was saved Kerry, because had that gone in there, I think the match as a contest was over. It was indeed Declan O'Sullivan. What a place to pop up right on your own goal line.
That was a wonderful piece of defending by Declan O'Sullivan, who's playing out of centre half forward at the moment. Just watch McGinley going around him. Very intelligent pass back to Mulligan. Gets maybe not a full contact on the ball, but excellent positional play by Declan O'Sullivan.
Young lad straight out of minor, of course. There's another former minor, Cormac McAnallen, but then most of this Tyrone team have minor and under-21 All-Ireland medals. Kicked in there adventurously by Declan Quill. Spilled. Tyrone now showing us a little bit of the nerves. Cormac McAnallen just needing to play out this phase of the game. They won't worry too much about what scores they're amassing during the second half of the contest, just so long as they remain that firm distance ahead of the kingdom. Kerry still believe they're in it. Scanlon towards Johnny Crowley. Likely to pop up anywhere. Liam Hassett coming through. Kerry needing a goal, and everybody from Tyrone back there.
Yes, and if the point this one, there's only going to be 5 points between them. Again, as we've said earlier, if Kerry came up with a goal out of somewhere, I'll tell you the fat is certainly in the fire then.
It would be some recovery if they managed to pull this one out.
Again, Tyrone have had quite a number of opportunities in this half, but it seems to me they have only scored, actually, is it 1 point in the half, Ger? Yeah, that's
Declan Quill kicking the free from the 20-metre line. He's put it over. And as you say, the gap is now down to more manageable proportions from a Kerry perspective. 10 points to 5. 23 minutes into the second half.
Yes, and the question really remains, can Tyrone maintain the same zest and the same intensity that they have had throughout? Like, they went at it so hard in the first half, it must have taken something out of them.
That's a great catch again by Darragh O'Shea. A colossus in midfield. Second wonderful high catch is made. Bad marking there by Ryan McMenamin, allowing Gooch free. And then it spills away from Mark O'Shea, and there's a foul, and it's a free kick to Tyrone. And an injured player there is Brian Dewar. Brian Dewar playing in his 29th championship match today for Tyrone. Will it be the one that will see them through to the All-Ireland final and beat Paddy's team? He's a former Ulster Player of the Year.
Yes, and he has worked so hard in this game. Actually, I've been hugely impressed by the three half forwards, Dooher, McGuigan and Cavan. Just watch this here again, all going through. And again, Dooher, okay, basically Johnny Crowley does draw him into the foul, and correctly free out for Tyrone. But just looking at the three half forwards, Dooher, McGuigan and Cavan, they've been outstanding in different capacities. McGuigan is a prompter, Dooher as a worker, and Cavan as a fielder of the ball.
It's lovely variation, and the chemistry is just right. But they've only scored 1 point in 25 minutes of the second half, and that tells us something about their sense of belief in themselves. Are they prepared to take chances? It also shows us Kerry fighting back. But did they just allow Tyrone to build up this huge gap in the first half?
Well, I think that's it. They have got their lead. They're going to allow it. They're using it as a cushion. They're prepared to put that defensive system into operation and make it very hard for Kerry to go and break it down.
Player down injured there appears to be Sean Kavanagh. Big muscular figure in midfield. This is the foul again in reprise here. Really hurt himself when he hit the ground that time. It was a lovely green sward and so on. There is a real hard surface underneath the grass, so it's quite unforgiving. A lot of fumbling back there. Fitzmaurice eventually taking it up. Kaplan was approaching, and it's going to be a free to Kerry. They want to take it quickly. Goalkeeper Declan O'Keefe. Scanlon's way back. Pushing the back. Tyrone now just wanted to force Kerry back down the field. Any light of the breeze that's there is in Tyrone's favour. Seamus Moynihan. Dara O'Shea now. Colin Cooper skips away and he's wrestled down by Ryan McMenamin. That's a yellow card, or should be.
Well, that's a cynical foul that time.
He hasn't been ticked so far. That doesn't matter anyway, because that kind of offence, I think, does merit a yellow. So 3 Tyrone players with yellows, and where Kerry are concerned, I think the total came to 6. So far too many cards.
Yes, and I'm just wondering, are Tyrone starting to give away frees in very dangerous positions and allow Kerry to claw their way back into the game? Look at, if they score this, we're back to a 4-point game. There's a good 10 minutes to go.
They're looking very wobbly all of a sudden, having been in cruise control.
Oh, by all means, much the better team.
Quill kicks and belts it over for his second point from a free, having taken over the duties from Dara O'Quinada, who's now sitting on the bench, and the men in the middle there up on the stands trying to fire up this Kerry team. They've only scored 6 points. Tyrone have scored 10. A place in the finals at stake. There's no cup for winning this.
No, but the guy who's impressed me for Kerry that maybe has prompted a turnaround in the second half has been Dara O'Shea. Some of his feeding has been absolutely outstanding.
Beaten this time, however, by Kevin Hughes. He stumbles down, and it's going to be a free kick. And again, the referee is busy with a notebook.
Yeah, there have been far too many stoppages in the game, far too many players. Maybe, okay, admittedly, a lot of them have got hard knocks and need treatment, but the game has had a staccato nature to it, and it's just very, very disappointing. It's a spectacle.
Well, we mentioned the fact, Martin, that that's Tyrone have scored just 1 point in the second half so far, and we're now 28 minutes into the half. They've only created 4 scoring chances. They don't care, mind you.
Not at all, because to be honest with you, even though they have only created 4 chances, any time they get the ball, they manage to retain their possession very, very wisely. And okay, maybe there is a kind of a hold on to what we have mentality about them. I think if they attacked a little bit more, they probably could build on this, because they're the better team on the day to Kerry.
Seamus Scanlon there getting the attention from Aoife Niwiri, who is the physio with the Kerry squad. It's going to be a free kick, which Gerard Cavalin is preparing to take. Made a really explosive start to the game, Cavalin, with the first 3 catches taken very cleanly. And that set up a platform from which Tyrone have been able to build, and build very firmly. They're playing with enough assurance at this stage to look like the team who will make it through to the final, barring some kind of a catastrophe. Sean Kavanagh, into the corner he goes, taking on Dara O'Shea, teasing and tormenting his man, using a few valuable seconds, could do with a score here. Hughes setting it up for O'Neill, checked his stride well and kicked firmly and over. It's a second point for Stephen O'Neill. Now the fans, with the belief in their team, who travelled the distances over the years, look like they're seeing their team through to a final. 5 between them.
Huge.
That's the second point for Tyrone in the second half.
Yeah, and a huge score that time, but again, we must hand it to Kavanagh. Made a great burst down the right-hand side, had the vision to see the man inside him, and again, give it to O'Neill, who put it over with his right foot.
Interesting change that, with Collie Holmes coming on. Usually a full-back or a defender anyway, could play in midfield as well. And I think it's a case of bringing on fresh legs to fight it for the remaining 5 minutes plus stoppage time to ensure victory. Again, Kerry go forward. Hassad ready to take the line ball. Kerry, for a large portion of this match, have simply been blown apart. But they're still there.
Yeah, but the tenacity of the Tyrone defending right through the field has been a real eye-opener today. Basically, they've never allowed Kerry to settle.
It's looking very definitely like an All-Ulster, All-Ireland football final, because the second of the semis, which you'll be able to see next Sunday, of course, Armagh, the All-Ireland champions against Donegal. And that sees a boot going flying in there, and it's going to be a free to Tyrone. Four minutes of the 70 remain. Ryan McMenamin. Kerry have never been able to live with Tyrone, and there's too many steps taken by McMenamin. Kerry will need a goal here. Can somebody provide it for them? Here's a chance. Crowley's around, trying to go through. He's looking for a penalty. Referee still playing time, and too many steps taken is the call. It goes Tyrone's way, and it's a free out. Controversial.
I'd like to see that one again, indeed. A very high ball coming in. Crowley did very well to run it. I thought he was fouled initially, but let's just take a look at it again. Gets the ball, confronted by Conor Gormley. Again, burrows forward all right. The backs stand off him, and maybe okay, free out is the right
I think
decision.
The referee's got it right there. They didn't rush in with clumsy, awkward, hefty challenges. They were disciplined as much as they could be.
Yeah, both Jordan and Gormley did good defending. They got between Crowley and the goals and just did enough to put him off.
Dooher again in need of attention. Is it going to be that kind of day? Such a long way back for them, all the way back to the kingdom. John Devine. Following that, let off for Tyrone. Another free kick, this time on the 65-metre line, and Tomás O'Shea to take what is the 70th free kick of the match. Littered with free kicks, littered with cards. A wretched display. And the saving grace is Tyrone's emphatic performance of teamwork.
Yeah, it's been a very untidy game, and that's putting it mildly. But again, Tyrone's intensity throughout, Tyrone's just will to win has prevailed, or I think will prevail, even though there's just a couple of minutes left.
It's like they've come here to play different kinds of football matches. Good movement, great finish, but it comes back off the post just there when Sean Kavanagh thought it had gone over. About a minute and a half remaining of normal time. The referee and his call here will be very interesting. How much time is he going to add on? Brian Dooher recovered from injury, demonstrating that brilliantly. The outside of the boot, the ball dissecting the posts, sending the crowd into raptures. Dewars first point. Tyrone are on their way to the All-Ireland final now, surely on the 28th day of September, where they will play either Armagh or Donegal. Tomás O'Shea hit and hope into space. Kerry, from the very beginning, have been simply wiped asunder here. They've had no answer.
Yeah, and I think it's very fitting, actually, that Duro goes and scores that point with his right foot, because he has worked and worked and worked. He's given everything that's in the tank, for the Tyrone cause today. Takes a lot of criticism, maybe not the prettiest footballer to watch at times, but by God Almighty, he gives everything he has.
The fifth substitution right at the very end, as we head into injury time for Kerry. Aidan McCarroll, Don Liam Hassett is off. But they're going to need half of Tralee and half of Killarney down there right now to try and win this one, as O'Neill comes through and kicks it over the bar. Stephen O'Neill's third point. Now they'll be wondering in Tyrone, A, will Peter Canavan be okay to play in the final, and B, how are they going to get the tickets?
And it's fully deserved, Gerard. They've worked and worked and worked, and they have reduced Kerry to a shadow of the team that we expected to come out here today.
13-6, and there'll only be 2 minutes of added time to be played at the end of the 70. The game is up for Kerry. It's been like that for a long, long time. Tyrone have been much the better side. The Ulster champions beating the Munster team. Tyrone created 23 scoring chances against 19 for Kerry. From that point of view, it doesn't look much of a gap. Collie Holmes in there as a substitute, comes back out towards Owen Mulligan. They'll be seen again in this year's All-Ireland football final. The first ever All-Ulster football final beckons 5 weeks from today. Colm Cooper way back to Forage. He should be up at the other end, getting a couple of passes, getting a couple of scores. But Kerry have been rudderless. Late opportunity here, and this time it is going to be a free in from the 20-metre line. But the Tyrone backs won't worry too much about that. The main purpose of the exercise was to win by at least one, as Declan Quill, the man who was fouled by Cormac McAnallen. Cormac, for the record, gets yellow. Tyrone have had 4 yellow cards, 6 for Kerry, 10 yellow cards in the match, 70+ free kicks. But when the record books are gleaned in years to come, people will say, well, what happened that day? It was the day that Tyrone qualified for another All-Ireland final, like 1986, like 1995.
And it must be said is fully deserved, and again on the part of Kerry, as we said earlier, is definitely nightmare in Croke Park Part 3.
The 2 minutes of added time has been played. Kerry are well and truly trounced. The margin of victory doesn't reflect it. It's only 7 points at the end. But there was one magnificent team out there. They had a game plan. Mickey Hart put them through their paces, prepared them really, really well. It was frustrating for Paddy O'Shea and his charges, but Tyrone are in another All-Ireland football final. They're one of those counties who've never won the title. Will Sam be going north to Tyrone? He'll be going north anyway, to either Tyrone or Armagh or Donegal. It's an All-Ulster, All-Ireland final for 2003. Let's go down now and see what the celebrations are like down on pitch side with Marty Morrissey.
Mickey Hart, that was a very, very impressive performance by your team.
Well, it certainly was impressive in the first half. In the second half, we had to work very hard for the number of scores that we got. But I think that we did our work in the first half. We worked so hard in the first half. We knew if we kept up that work rate, we had done enough to stay ahead. But you have to hand it to Kerry. They didn't throw in the towel. They made us fight to the bitter end. And at one stage, there was only 4 points in it with about 10 minutes to go. So a great victory by all means, but unfortunately, there's no cups handed out today. We're just in a final.
But you certainly steamrolled them in the first half. But let's look at the second half. You had to perform defensively, and you did it with honours.
Well, that's it. We keep saying that every player on the field is a defender when we haven't got the ball. and that philosophy we'll try to get through all year, and we're still working on it, and the more we do it, I think the better we'll become. But again, I'll say to you, there's 2 other teams sitting in the semi-final. They have their eye on the title as well. We're just going to make up one of that 2 at the end of the season.
Well, Mickey, let me just say this to you. It's your first year in charge. It's going to be a historic All-Ireland final because it's going to be yourselves against Donegal or Armagh. What does that mean to you and indeed to the people of Ulster, do you think?
Well, they were extra incentives, I suppose, to be had all year. Not all year, but especially in the last 8 there when it came down to 2 Ulster teams on the other side. We didn't want to be the ones that would cause the upset of not having an all-Ulster final. So we've done our part now. We're going to have to, obviously the other 2 teams are already there. Whoever we meet, it's going to be the same story all over again. We have to work as hard plus more if we want to win the title. And ultimately that's what every team sets out at the start of the year, is to get the title. Getting the finals is fine, but Tyrone need to win one, and we still have that job to do.
But in your first year, Mickey, you've done a great job.
Well, this is a process. This doesn't happen all in 1 year. Tyrone underage structures are very good. We've had good success at underage. There's been lots of men have worked very hard for this day. We needed 86, we needed 95 to get to this one. And we'll use that experience to bring us forward. And I hope that it brings us to the title.
Did you think you were going to do it without your captain, Peter the Great?
Well, this was another challenge to us. People said we couldn't play without him. We told our players at half-time that would be levied against us if we didn't win this game. It was all about Peter Canavan. Peter Canavan knows this team's about more than him, and he's a very key part to it. But the team stood up and were counted for him today.
Well, Mickey Hart, congratulations, a great job.
Thank you very much, Marty.
Were today's masters, but who will be this year's champions? At half-time, there were 7 between them. Each side tagged on 4 points.
Really proud of the team. We didn't play well in the first half. We knew that if we didn't want to give Tyrone that kind of a lead, but unfortunately early on, we were just that little bit unlucky, dropping balls around the middle of the field. Look, share of things didn't go right for us. Second half, I felt that they played much better, but they left that little bit too much to do. If we did maybe get a goal in the second half, it would possibly maybe have brought Kerry into another gear, but that didn't happen. The tactics of pulling everybody back, it was difficult to get through.
From a personal point of view, I'm devastated with what happened, but on the other hand, I'm absolutely delighted that Tyrone have defeated Kerry and we've made it into the All-Ireland final.
Certainly, let's go back to that first half. He really steamrolled Kerry. Obviously, that was the strategy.
Well, I suppose every team goes out, they want to get off to a good start, but we made a point of it because we would have been very aware that if Kerry had built up a good lead, then we certainly would have been in trouble. So it was vital that we got out of the blocks fast and we managed to get a couple of good scores on the board early.
There was an incident towards the end of the game, Paddy, which is most unusual in Croke Park, where a supporter got to you. Can you give me your version of that?
Yeah, I do. I believe I got a haymaker towards the end of the game, all right, but maybe over the years being involved up here in Croke Park, maybe just coming to me. I'm certainly not going to be making an issue of it anyhow. Probably a little supporter or somebody who got carried away, but I'm not certainly going to be making an issue of it.
Mickey's a plan. He just says that the best tacklers in the team should be 15, 14 and 13, and I think that's what been our attitude, is that the corner forwards defend like corner backs as if they are defending the goal, and I think that the whole forward line today makes it far easier for a corner back, like whenever you boys like Jared and Brian and Owen working their socks off, and the balls that were going in today were 50-50, and it gave me and the rest of the defenders a bit of chance, but it was phenomenal in the first half.
Give us the exclusive. Who would you prefer, Donegal or Armagh?
What I say doesn't matter because we're going to get whoever wins next week. It's just one of those things. As I says, we'll take whoever we get at this stage, and good luck to the two of them.
What about yourself now, Paddy? Because obviously there's going to be a post-mortem in Kerry. Will you stay on as manager?
Well, there's always a post-mortem in Kerry, and in fairness, Marty, I have given quite an amount to the game as a player and whatever involved now, and I don't think it would be right on myself to make a decision today or tomorrow or the day after, so I'm going to take my time on this situation, and I've no doubt that I'll come up with what I consider is best for everybody in the end.
Yeah, with a full-blooded, wholehearted display by Tyrone at Croke Park this afternoon. The Ulster Pat Spillane and Kevin McStay here with me in the programme. Pat, come to you in a minute, I suppose, about Kerry and what happened to them today. But on a positive note, first of all, let's look at Tyrone. They set out the mission this year to get to the All-Ireland final. They're there and well-deserved it today.
Yeah, and I think, well flagged from early on in the season. They're National League champions. They're going fierce well. They have a lot of big wins at underage behind them. I think they were a common team. I said it earlier in the season. I'm delighted for them. It was a very, very good win for them. Like, I have no doubt in the world, best team won today. And they'll be thrilled. Now, some of us will have some reservations about the way the second half degenerated, perhaps, but they'll be thrilled with it. They won't care two hoots how they got into the final. They're there now and waiting for what's going to come next Sunday.
The bigger the county is, the greater the analysis is going to be, and the fallout from a defeat. And for Kerry, this was a rough defeat today.
It was. I've selected my colour scheme tonight to match, of black and grey, to match the sombre mood that I feel. And look, analysis is quite simple of today's game. Tyrone dominated in all sectors and deserved to win. There's no ifs, no buts, no nothing at all. The better team won today. I think they've adopted the policy of, I don't know what American coach, sporting coach said, it's better to win ugly than lose pretty. This wasn't a pretty contest, but then these boys aren't in the business of entertainment. They're not getting extra marks like in diving or synchronised swimming for aesthetic beauty. It's results what counts, and whatever means they're not in the business, like I said, of entertainment. Gaelic football evolved from the game of CAD, and this CAD was the game where one parish took the ball to the opposite end of the other parish, and the other parish did everything in their power to stop them. Well, this was a game of CAD today. I don't want to see a game that had 72 frees, which must be a record for a championship game. That's the equivalent of 92 frees in a soccer match, or 82 frees in a rugby match. It was like kids playing in an overcrowded schoolyard. I mean, the game I loved, this is not the game that I love to play and I love to be involved in. This negative, defensive orientated, stop-start, cynical gamesmanship of trying to stop the game, and kicking being a last option. I fear for the future of Gaelic football if this is the way it's going to evolve. And remember, there's no rule changes for the next couple of years. This sort of football that I saw today will not fill Croke Park. I'll tell you this: the sooner they open Croke Park, the better. But it's not a case of this game left a sour taste in my mouth, and it's not a case of sour grapes because the better team won today. But I'll tell you, to describe today's football, do you know what I'd describe it as? I'd call it puke football.
Mickey Hart and his selectors will love to hear that kind of comment, Kevin McStay, because that's the kind of inspiration that will drive them on to win the All-Ireland.
Yeah, I don't think they'll worry a whole lot about it. In all truth, Pat, with due respect. I'd have to say the first 20 minutes of the game was pretty good until Canavan's injury. Tyrone were moving well. He went off. They had to rejig a wee bit. And see, the problem for the Tyrone setup is they have 4 defensively minded attackers. You know, you take McGuigan, Dooher, Cavlin. We're talking midfielders, guys that naturally played deep. Then they brought McGinley out. Now, it was a lot more than blanket defence. It was close to eider-down defence in the second half, I would suggest. And that's what gave it the ugly look. You have to say, Pat, in all fairness, you know, the Kingdom rode in as well. I mean, there was plenty of fouls coming from their side.
Yes, there was.
I'm not flying a flag now for Tyrone by any means. I didn't enjoy the game for sure.
Yeah.
It was poor stuff. Hard going in the second half. I mean, I think they got 4 points apiece in the second half. A lot of them near the end when it didn't matter a whole lot.
You have picked out 1 or 2 clips, though, to show Tyrone moving the ball well and doing what they do well.
Yeah, and what they're good at, they are excellent at. They handle the ball really well. Now, this is the good, the bad, and the illegal is the first one, Michael, I want to talk about. Kavanagh coming from deep, very dangerous, popped the ball over with the open hand. I don't want to be going on about it. If you'd given the ball to Mulligan, it was a goal, of course. Now, I picked this one because this is late in the game and the hustle is still fierce from the Tyrone lads. And I suppose Dooher gets, for me, the point of the game, and good luck to him. He's under a bit of pressure the last few weeks, and it was great, very appropriate that he would finish. But they were hustling really strong in the 68th, 69th, 70th minute. They wanted to get to this final so badly compared to the Kerry boys, and they did it.
You've had the task of looking at some of Kerry's play, which was less than impressive today. Now, giving credit to Tyrone, some of the things that Kerry did today didn't look like Kerry.
Yeah, they didn't seem to learn from last year at all, you know, and they know going to this game today what Tyrone's game plan was, this blanket type defence. And we look here at a few clips. Their style of play today was slow and cumbersome. This is a Kerry attack. It's really going nowhere. It slows the game down. It gives a chance for defences to reorganise. Look at the way the amount of Tyrone defenders behind the ball. It's slow moving, it's cross-field ball. And then when some Kerry players attempt to kick it up, the ball is blocked down, spaced at a premium. Tyrone player gets it and it's cleared. Here's a free, which should be probably put over the bar, or if not, kicked into the edge of the square. Instead it's ambled into the corner, where Declan O'Sullivan now has to pass around 13 fellas to get from that corner. Instead it's an out short pass out to Sean O'Sullivan. Sean O'Sullivan fumbles it and the ball goes over the line. And again, another incident here. It goes to Liam Hassett. He fumbles it first time. This was the sort of urgency that they had today. There was a slowness and speed and action, you know. And like Tyrone had the hunger. I mean, hunger is not in any manual, or there's no drills to... But Kerry, I said if Kerry were to have a chance today, they'd have had to match Tyrone in terms of work ethic and hunger, and they failed to do that. And I think what we saw in evidence there with Kerry is something what we saw in evidence with Meath and Galway last. Players with a lot of mileage in the legs, players with All-Ireland medals in the pocket, and they just didn't have the hunger and the will and the commitment. You know, it's maybe past the sell-by date for some of these players, even maybe management. They brought great honour and glory to Kerry, but I think it's time for a break, to refocus, recharge batteries.
But the word from the Sunday game tonight is there is a ray of hope for Kerry.
Yes, because it was hard enough, you know, today they couldn't
call it a ray,
I think they wouldn't have got. I think they wouldn't have got past 6 Tyrone players if there was only 6 Tyrone players. Now they couldn't get past 15, but if you watch carefully here, number 23 suddenly reappeared out of the scene to stop a Kerry attack. This was Seamus Mulgrew. Look at him running off the field. Seamus actually was never introduced as a sub, so at some stage during the game he actually ran on. Now the rules of the game state forfeiture of the game in the case of playing 16 players. Now as a Kerry man, I will not be, you know, try to show my Kerry hat here tonight. I will say we wouldn't claim the game, but I think the game should be replayed again. The referee was so flippin' pernickety today, where he spotted everything in empty. You'd think a junior B, that wouldn't happen in a junior B game where a fella runs on from the side and plays for a couple of seconds and runs off again. That's a joke. So a replay.
He felt he was going
midnight.
Mulgrew felt he was going very well in training though,
yeah.
and he should get a
He wanted to show the manager.
Well, like all the other Tyrone players today, he certainly was keen. OK, then, we're going to come now to this afternoon's man of the match selection from the big game. And that selection is Tyrone's wing-back Philip Jordan, on a day when Tyrone's defence snuffed out Kerry's highly regarded forwards. Jordan, I think, exemplified all that was solid and tenacious about the Ulster men. But I think really, gentlemen, to sum this up, Kevin, it was just really a great team performance by Tyrone today, all round the park.
It was, and the way the game went, it had to be a team ethic. And certainly, I heard last week people saying that, you know, there's no ego in the Kilkenny hurlers. I can assure you, there's no ego in the Tyrone footballers. They're all in it for themselves. We could have gone, you know, McGuigan had a super match, Dewar had a very fine game, and so on. So that's the sort of performance they got. They got all their key players playing well, and the ones that we perhaps hadn't been looking at so much, they really rose it. And a great team performance, and that's why they won so handily.
Gentlemen, thanks for the moment earlier this afternoon at Crook.